I love encouragers because they open doors. I don't just mean they open the doors when you come to church in the morning. I mean they open up doors and opportunities. There's one gentleman in our church that he just fills up my heart every time he comes and talks to me because he's just so encouraging, and it emboldens me too. Hey, I'm Mark, and this is your Cornerstone Connection. Well, I hope you've experienced the benefit of an encourager in your life, and maybe it's been in church, and maybe it's been somewhere else, where someone has just come alongside you and encouraged you. And sometimes that encouragement even opens up new doors, as it did for the Apostle Paul in today's reading. Well, I'm in the book of Acts, and I'm in chapter 9. So he was Saul, right? We're now familiar with the story, aren't we? He was Saul, the persecutor of Christians, right? He was a Pharisee. He was trained. He was called himself a Pharisee among Pharisees. He was trained by a very well-known Pharisee, and his zeal was such that he was going to go and shut down this fake Jesus stuff. And all that changed when Jesus showed up on the road to Damascus, and Saul's life was forever changed, right? Well, now Saul is wanting to have these conversations, but he kind of hits this roadblock because the Christians, they remember who Saul was. They remember the things that Saul did before he believed in Jesus, and now they're like, "Whoa, okay, dude, stay back, right? We're a little bit afraid for our life." Well, one man, one encourager, changes and shapes a lot of Saul's life and his mission, right? So it says here in verse 23, so Paul escapes from Damascus, right? When many days had passed, the Jews plotted to kill him, but their plot became known to Saul, and then they lowered him down a wall in a basket. That must have been exciting. And when he had come to Jerusalem, he attempted to join the disciples, but they were all afraid of him, for they did not believe that he was a disciple. But Barnabas came and took him and brought him to the apostles and declared to them how on the road he had seen the Lord who spoke to him, and now at Damascus he had preached boldly in the name of Jesus. So he went in and out among them at Jerusalem, preaching boldly in the name of the Lord. That could have never happened if it wasn't for Barnabas. Barnabas is an encourager who opened up real doors for Saul, and that still happens today. You know, there are still times when we, particularly we as older Christians, can come alongside someone and encourage someone to see them flourish in ministry. And that's a value that our church has too, and that is a really, really cool thing. And it happened here. So because of Barnabas, Paul was able to spend some time with two of the apostles. And we can read a little bit more about this. And if you flip over to Galatians chapter 1, verse 18, it says, "Then after 3 years I went up to Jerusalem to visit Cephas and remained with him for 15 days. But I saw none of the other apostles except for James, the Lord's brother." And of course, Cephas is the formal name for Peter. So Saul now spends 15 days with Peter, and they were probably talking about sports. I have no doubt they were talking about they were yelling, "Go Packers!" No, probably not. I'm sure that they were inquiring, seeing, is this guy's faith real? Is it genuine? And they were going over doctrine and the foundations of the faith, right? They were finding out what this Saul guy was all about, and they were rejoicing with him. You see, none of that would have happened had Barnabas not believed in what God was doing in the life of Saul. And Barnabas opened up this door. Dude, how much of the Bible would we not have had Barnabas never done that and enabled Saul, who would change his name to Paul, to do all that he did? Paul wrote most of the New Testament. That's unbelievable. Encouragers open doors. So here's a challenge for me, and maybe a challenge for you too. Let's go out and be encouragers. You know, we all think we know what God is going to do so well, but the reality is that we're just surprised every day by what God is doing and how God uses people in ways that we couldn't even anticipate. You know, I think that God could use you to do something very unexpected. If you can open the door for someone else to do ministry, man, that is such an incredible thing. What a cool thing to be able to celebrate and to rejoice. Well, hey, I hope you do that. I hope that you have the chance to encourage somebody this week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.